Hello, welcome to Dancing with the Geeks. Just a quick review of the Glotkin book, which I have finished reading. I finished reading book 1 and 2. It's taken a little while. Not as long as Nagash, because it's not as long as Nagash. But anyway, just a quick overview of the Glotkin book, because a lot of people won't have had a chance to get hold of it. So this is obviously book 2 in the End Times series, and it kind of continues off from where the first one left off. And this book, if you hadn't guessed by all the Nurgle stuff on it, is basically focused around Nurgle and the invasion that Archaon's throwing into the old world, at least the vanguard of the invasion, to spread disease and plague. I won't go too much into the story because I don't want to spoil it. But obviously the release over the last few weeks from Games Workshop, they're the generals of this invasion that Archaon has chosen. So we get a full story again. It's set up into chapters, just like the Nagash book. Like the format, because it takes you through. And then it coincides with the battles in book 2. So you can, as you're reading it, you're going to get a battle in book 2, a scenario anyway. So, and then it's got this bit here where it shows you the armies involved in each of the battles. See that on that. Yep, sorry about the shadow over the picture there. Anyway, so you get these, again, telling you what units were involved in the battle. As I said, this is mainly Nurgle, apart from there was a Kron unit involved in there, Corn unit, Corn, you said potato, so on. Yep, so there's one, the Red Reavers in there, which ties in with the background of what's been going on. And there's another one later on, but as for that, there's no other Chaos Forces other than Nurgle in there. We've got the Dead obviously defending the Empire, not surprisingly, after you've read the first book, and the Empire Forces as well. There is there's the Empire Forces. Some cool artwork, very cool artwork to give you the idea. And as we go through the story, progress, there's a bit about the Doctor here, Dr. Festus, and again, looking at the armies involved in different battles. All these background information is brilliant. Reading through it, it's really characterful. It really gives you a feel for the battle. This is probably one of my favourite ones. If you've seen my not seen my Wood Elf army yet, but if you've seen my Forest Goblin and Orc army, which is basically everything that's on these pages. So thanks Games Workshop for tailoring it to my army. That's brilliant. I don't know why they've done that, but it's really cool. So we've got a battle, Chaos versus Orcs, but it's Forest Goblins and Savage Orcs, which is great for me because it's excellent. And it's a very good bit in the book as well. The background and the story for that. So the War in Drakenwald, it goes into all that. Some more lovely artwork. Got Spume there on his war altar. And going through that. So yeah, the whole story continues on. It goes into the Empire, the battles that are going on. There are a few deaths in this one, not as many as in Nagash. There was a lot of deaths in Nagash, a lot of characters killed off. There is a few in this. I'm not going to spoil it by telling you who it is, you'll have to read it to find out. But it is, it's not as, how to say it, was quite shocking reading the Nagash book and all these characters getting killed off. Because they've already done that, it's not quite as shocking now. And they didn't kill off, well, they killed off who I thought they were going to kill off anyway. So, not quite as shocking. And, let's go through the book. As you see, there's a nice map there of the invasion. It's very cool, gives you an idea of where the Chaos Forces are coming from and where Vlad's coming from to help them, because obviously Nagash has probably gone off somewhere, maybe to destroy Khemri, who knows, and like you will do if you've read the first book. And we've got the Fall of Altdorf, which is what this is all about really, how it falls. So you'll have to read that to find out how it falls and who dies. But as you can see, the Bretonnians are involved. So yeah, that is basically this book. It's a very cool story. A very cool continuation from Nagash. Not quite as long, which was fine. I mean, I could read it in a day basically and get back to you. But yeah, that's the first book. And it involves chaos, as I've said, mainly around Nurgle. It involves humans, the Empire, and Bretonnia, but no other races are involved in this book. This is the attack on the Empire. There's no dwarves, no elves, nobody else. It's just chaos versus Empire. This is Archaon's first push against the world, and it's to take out the humans basically. So book 2 is obviously the rules. You can get it open. There we go. And in here you'll find rules which are basically for street fighting, which are streets of death. It tells you how to fight a lot, because a lot of these take place in the cities. Nearly every battle takes place in the cities actually. And this tells you how to refight the city battles using buildings as ambushes and stuff like that, and barricades. It looks really, really exciting actually. You can see really sort of siege and street fighting mentality going on. I'm quite looking forward to giving that a go really. But and then there's rules for the Chaos Ascendant. Chaos Ascendant, which is basically one of the gods will be ascendant at a time, and then they can use summoning spells, a lot like the undead spells basically, but to summon demons, and they become more powerful if they're ascendant. So this is obviously Nurgle, who's ascendant at this point. And then the Legions of Chaos, which is the army list for the Legions of Chaos, which tells you basically that in your army you can mix demons, beastmen and warriors all into one nice army. And of course, just like Nurgle, you can have up to 50% characters, which is lucky considering the cost of some of these characters, especially the Glotkin. But there you go, that's basically what we had in Nagash, but for Chaos. And then all the specific rules are there telling you basically how to run the army. And then we've got a Reign of Chaos table, and then I have the Gods table to use in this. And then we've got the Glotkin. And here's the Glotkin, he's 810 points. There he is. Of course, they've shown a lot of this in White Dwarf, if you've been watching White Dwarf, the previous ones. The Magoth Lords and Spume have obviously been in White Dwarf. But the Glotkin completes the 3 sets of generals that Archaon's chosen. So they're obviously in here as well. And there's a bit of a bonus. We've got, where is he? Future Black Kings. Cool. Which I'll show you at some point. I've painted the Putrid Black Kings and Spume, so I'll show you them. We've got Festus Empowered, which is a stronger version of Festus. And this reminds me a little bit of, you know, in War Machine and so on, when they've got a character who's been improved past the original stats. So with new rules involved in this, but you also see Overleaf. Oh, there is a character there, and it's Calfrance. Yeah, Calfrance Ascendant. But if you've read Nagash, you'll know he survived. So you have to read this and see if he survives this book. So there he is, Calfrance Ascendant, which is a stronger version of Calfrance for these scenarios. Yeah. And of course we've got the narrative scenarios, which match the battles in the Glotkin book. And this cool model here. I get a chance to use him then, because he looks like the first vampire general. So yeah, an excellent book. So not as lengthy as Nagash, just as cool from a Chaos perspective, especially for a Nurgle player like myself. Loving it. Hoping to see a lot more. Hoping to see one of these for each of the gods, because I'm also a Tadinj player as well as a Nurgle player, and Claire's a Kron or Khorne and Slanesh player. So I'm hoping to see the other 3 gods represented at some point. And also hoping to see some sort of book involving the return of mankind and the elves and the dwarves, even if it's just one book of an alliance, because everyone's pretty well screwed at the moment, because it is evil versus evil really at the moment. The dead versus chaos, and the whole world's being torn apart. So you would hope there is some hope there, but so far there is not. So yeah, you have to read, obviously, this book, the story, to find out what happens. I'm not going to give that away. It was very, very good. And I've still got the novel to read as well. The first Nagash novel was immensely good. It added a lot of flavour in that wasn't in the Nagash book, and a lot about the vampires as well. So I really liked the reading that, so I'm hoping this is going to give a lot of flavour background as well, which isn't in here. But there is tons of background in there. Not to say there's no background in here, there's absolutely loads. And it was a great read. And I was up last night till like 2 o'clock in the morning reading it because I was enthralled. And then I read through the rules this morning and the scenarios. So I really want to play them. And I've obviously got the Chaos models, but I want to get them painted. And I've got Nagash, but he's obviously painted. But the main protagonist for the undead in this is actually Vlad, which is cool because I like Vlad. So I need to get hold of a model of Vlad because I don't actually own one. Apart from one of the really old models where he looks pretty human. And there's Isabella as well who looks pretty human. I'll dig them out at some point, I might paint them again. But I need to get a hold of a new Vlad model and be ready to go then, really, after the Chaos is painted. But yeah, I highly recommend this book, especially if you've read Nagash. It is a continuation of the story. Try and get your hands on it. I know it's very difficult because obviously Games Workshop's not printed enough. I did hear on the grapevine they are printing some more though, so keep your eyes open. Obviously these are coming from China, so it might take a little while to come through, but they are going to do a reprint, so hopefully they'll be able to get hold of the Glotkin if you haven't got it already. But if you know someone who's got it, borrow it off them. I would suggest you to borrow it off them and have a read of it. And as soon as you can get hold of it as well. But anyway, that's enough of me jabbering on there. So I hope you've enjoyed this quick review of the Glotkin. And if you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. And that's it really. So I shall see you again when I've got some painting guides coming up, and I've got I might paint the Glotkin and then you can have a look at it. We'll do a quick sort of showcase of the Blight Kings when I get them back, because Games Workshop Preston's currently got hold of them because there's a painting contest. And the manager looked at me and went, "Please, can I have them?" Oh yeah. But anyway, I'll get on with painting these guys as well, because these guys are really cool. As you can see, I don't know whether to magnetise these so I can take them off, because there's quite a few times in the book where they're not actually fighting on Grook's back. Is it Grook? I can't remember his name now. This guy. Raw. There's quite a few times where they're not actually fighting on his back and they've got off, and so I don't know whether I might magnetise these yet. And then obviously if I magnetise them, I can use him as a Demon Prince, which would be awesome, because it's one of the greatest models I've ever seen for size as well as pustulence. So thanks for watching. I've been Pantheon of Geeks, I've been Paul, and I shall see you soon. Take care.